Hey guys, it's Bill Vinci and Ryan Vinci with No Time for Nonsense. It is Sunday. You know what that means. It's another great show today. We have special guest Eddie Arcuri. Eddie, how you doing, my man?
Great, guys. Thank you so much for having me today. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Ryan, how you doing today, buddy?
Fantastic. The weather is amazing, by the way.
We got a great day today. The weather's fantastic. It's beautiful out, sunny, warm. And I'm surprised, Eddie, that we were able to get you. I mean, you weren't on the boat yet, were you?
No, not yet. I was actually getting ready to go put a new battery in it. But yeah, no plans before this one to make sure it was around. But I was outside messing around with the dirt bikes and stuff.
I did see that. I did see you out with the bikes this morning.
I'm trying not to break my neck at this stage.
Yeah, that one has been good. Hey, you do any walleye fishing?
I do. Yeah, I didn't go out for opening day, but I plan to go out this year. I do a lot of fishing.
We went up to the beach yesterday just to walk around. It was packed up there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's a good. I'm sure a lot of people were out there trying to catch some fish. The weather finally broke. So, but guys, I want to thank Eddie for joining us today, Ryan. And first off, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I know it's a beautiful day, so if you are able to watch, if not, this will be on replay. This will be out there. You can give it a share, like. I do want to thank some sponsors of today's show. I want to thank Out of the Way Cafe and Joey's at 307, Matt Grabsky. Out of the Way Cafe, downtown Utica, New York. Hometown favorites with a twist. Great breakfast, great lunch. Matt does a super job over there. You can always hit him up. And then at night, you can go check out his Joey's at 307. Casual dining, offering simple Italian food and specialty dishes. Contact Matt for breakfast, lunch if you're dining out. Obviously, you're dining out right now. If you want takeout, reach him out. He's at Out of the Way Cafe and Joey's at 307. Thank you, Matt. Plus, I want to thank Eternal Grave Care with Mike Bottini. Mike does a great job. Professional care for your loved ones' headstones, from landscaping to maintenance to stone cleaning. Give Mike a call at 315-335-3348. Mike Bottini, thank you again for being a sponsor of today's show. Also, all things with Nikki. She's fantastic. Nikki's a licensed cosmetologist that works on her magic. She's fantastic. She does a great job. She does hair. She specializes in beauty, cosmetics, and personal care. You can reach out to Nikki. She's in Utica, New York at 315-985-3303. And also Wendy's Diner. She's in Cassville, New York. Wendy Brown. It's a local family business in Cassville. They got a great place for breakfast, lunch, and Friday fish fry. Plus, they got summertime. They got the ice cream opening up, so you're going to want to check that out. You can reach Wendy at 315-839-5000. So, Wendy, thank you, and thanks for all our sponsors today. But today, we got Eddie on board. And, Eddie, how are you doing through this coronavirus stage right now? And what are you doing?
I'm doing well. Right now, my main job during the day, I work for the city-owned water department, and we have a crew about, let's say, maybe 12 to 14 guys, and they have us split up into two groups. So we're working every other day. So that's what I'm doing for work, and then I'm still trying to do whatever side work I can during after that. But it's hard because it's hard to get materials and stuff like that. Can't do any music live right now out in the bars or anything, or any an outside show. So, but I'm trying to keep myself as busy as I can.
There's been a lot of Zoom shows going on too. People just playing on their cameras and throwing out their tip jar, and it seems like that's working decently well for some people.
Absolutely, there's a lot of people. A lot of my friends out there, they have those, I think, virtual tip jars.
Yeah.
They're doing awesome. They have great shows.
Yeah, well, I know there's been a lot of concerts that have been canceled or postponed this year. Is there any that you've been planning to go to that have been canceled now?
Well, usually the last 3 years, I performed at the Frog Fest, Big Frog 104 at Utica Rome Speedway, and I think that they postponed it. It was in May this year, but they postponed it, I think, till September now. And hopefully, they'll still be able to go in September, but I always plan on going to that.
Yeah.
And I play a lot of outdoor shows in the summertime too, and one that I was booked for this year was I usually always play the Relay for Life.
Okay.
here in Rome, sometimes in Canada, but at the deaf school here in Rome, and I was booked there in June. So hopefully, I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah.
It seemed like there was a lot of shows this year. I mean, like Syracuse, the amphitheater over there. I mean, they had countless concerts. It seemed like they were just pushing them out every day for a couple weeks. You know, they had like Slipknot, and they had the Zac Brown band, they had Disturbed, and I mean, huge bands being played this year. It's crazy that all these have to be either canceled or postponed. And
yeah,
I mean, that's for now. You know, we're not sure how it's supposed to go for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy too, especially like a new place like that, the Lakeview Amphitheater, to run a facility like that just to keep it up. You know, they obviously rely on the shows and
they've been getting big acts. I mean, pretty
huge. The biggest act.
Great shows.
Yeah, huge. Yeah. Awesome. I've got to go there too. I need to check it out. I've heard great things about it.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful over there. It really is, especially at night once it starts getting lit up.
Beautiful so guys, for just joining us, we're with country singer Eddie Arcuri. If you have any questions, please send him a message and I'll read it off to him, me or Ryan. Actually, we got a shout out. Stacy Marie, shout out to my furry niece Moo Moo making her debut.
Yeah, that's actually Heather's cat.
Is that who it is?
There's my girlfriend. There's Heather behind me on the couch.
Hey Heather, how are you?
She's hiding her cat Moo Moo's right above her on the couch.
Moo Moo, there she is. Oh, hi Heather. Heather's saying hi on the show right now. Hi Heather. See, she's in the back hanging out.
She always wanted a cow. So she couldn't get a cow, so she got a cat named it Moo Moo.
That's all right. Whatever.
Close enough.
So Stacy checking in, giving us a little shout out to Moo Moo making a debut. So we'll have to get the cat up maybe a little bit later. So guys, any questions, send a message and I'll ask Eddie anything about his music, growing up and all that. Well, first of all, I got to go back and talk about our family tree, because people were asking me when I posted, they said, cousin, we didn't know. So how we're related is Eddie's grandfather and my grandfather were brothers. And his mother and my mother are first cousins. So that would make us second cousins. So that's the family tree that everybody's been asking about. They're saying, geez, I didn't know you guys were related. So yeah, so that's how. So people want to know how that family tree came about. So
yeah, absolutely. And this is this is the first time we've actually got to talk face to face. I mean, it is video, but since Grandma passed, and I wanted to send my condolences, and my mother too. Her aunt Carmen, you know, she loved, and every time it was funny. I think it's been a while since the last time I saw her. I think it was when Joe Patane. He was selling some of his glass pieces at Kyle Puma's Lifted shop.
Oh yeah.
And she went in there to buy, look to see what cousin Joe had for sale. Yeah. And then right away she recognized me, and it's been a while. And she, Eddie, how's Tommy? How's your mother?
My God.
And of course, nothing, perfect. She always had herself together. It was so. Yeah, it was. It's sad to hear, but what a great woman. Definitely.
Yeah, 95 years, man. It's a long time.
Yeah, and you would never know by looking at her. You would never know her age.
No, absolutely not. I know. So that's the family history behind the with Eddie and our family over here. So Eddie, I want to hear though. I want to start back. Growing up in a big Italian family in Rome, New York.
Yeah.
Talk about growing up in Rome and your family behind it.
Well, I loved it. I still have all the old VHS tapes that my grandfather, your Uncle Jimmy, put together, and he everywhere he went, he had a video camera, the camera that he'd have on his shoulder. I don't care what we were doing. If we woke up, we were eating cereal in the morning, he'd film it. And so we have all these tapes, and I was watching them, and there was always like big dinners. When Grandma was still alive, she passed in '94, but we had the big dinners, and I still have pictures of there was a snowstorm, the blizzard of '90, I think it was '93 or '94, and over there shoveling his sidewalks and stuff. But it was just it was awesome because every weekend, what did we do? Tommy and I would go to the grandparents' house. We'd stay the night with Grandma and Grandpa. We'd wake up in the morning, help Grandpa around the house. Just that's how it was. Big family, and always a Sunday dinners, and always a toast before dinner. And
absolutely.
definitely. I've been telling Heather about the videos. I got to break them out.
Yeah. Oh, we always had videos. It reminds me of the Goldbergs show.
Yeah.
Where the kid just went around with the camera. He filmed everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Everything. So you couldn't get away with anything back then.
Yeah, I was watching one of the dinner videos, and my grandfather he just set the camera up on a tripod in front of the dinner table.
And you just ate.
Just to film everybody eating dinner.
Just
It was
eating.
so fun. Yeah.
That's funny. Oh my God. Yeah, those were the good days. You don't get now everybody's got the cameras and videos on their phone, but those were old school days, man. Sitting around the table where you actually had Sunday dinners and stuff now. Yeah. There's a lot of change since then.
Very few in between now.
Yeah.
Few families do that. So
talking about big family, on Sundays, every Sunday, we'd go to the store. And just going to the store took maybe 2 hours because every aisle, there's 3 different conversations with, oh, this is your cousin from over here. And we met him like 4 times. I still can't remember because I just met 30 people every time I went to the store.
That's what happens, man. Our family's so big, Eddie, that we still meet people that were like, I didn't know I was related to you.
Yeah.
Right? Do you get that?
Yeah.
It's crazy. We have a big Italian family.
I still get it. I still do. I get it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, now obviously growing up in Rome and stuff, when did you pick up that guitar for the first time?
The first time I picked up a guitar, I think it was an acoustic guitar that my parents got me for Christmas. I think it was around 10 years old. And I didn't do much with it. It sat around for a little bit. But interesting story, when I'm left-handed. And when my parents got me a guitar, it was a right-handed guitar. But the first thing I did naturally is I flipped it over to play left. Mm-hmm. And my mother goes, "How do you know that's upside down? You got to turn it the other way." So I just learned to play right-handed.
Right.
Oh wow.
Right.
So I messed around with it a little bit. It came with the old day. This was back in the early '90s. It came with like a tape. You'd put in the VCR and you'd watch it or something, and I never went anywhere with it. It was a couple of years later where they got me an electric guitar, and I started messing around with it. I was around 12 years old, and then that's where it started. I was around 12.
Wow, 12 years old. And we got a hello from Robin Walcott. Ryan, your grandmother, saying hi, guys.
Hi, Bosh.
Robin.
Robin, Eddie knows Robin. Robin said hello.
Yes,
Robin's
I do.
Watching,
very good.
Robin's watching down in where? Where's she at, Ryan? She near Buffalo?
Yeah, she's out towards Buffalo.
Towards Buffalo. Hi, Robin. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. We see a bunch of our sponsors. Mike Bottini's in. Nikki's in. Anthony Z's in. Cousin Angela Davis. Love it. Is watching. Angela, how you doing, cuz? Thanks for everybody for tuning in and stuff.
It's funny, though. I mean, when I remember when I first picked up the guitar, it was about the same thing. I mean, got it, and it just kind of sat around. I mean, I feel like I messed with it a couple times, but you get discouraged when you see other people and they're just jamming out, and you try to do something and you maybe play Smoke on the Water, you know?
Yeah, you play a couple licks. Yep.
Yeah, it's like you play for a little bit, you set it down, then maybe a couple months later you start picking it back up, and it just seems like it's progression until you start getting a little bit better. Then you start to enjoy it. You could play songs, and then you start picking it up even more and more and more. But
it's definitely something very, very discouraging when you first start out. And that's something I just told myself. I said, you know what? That's it. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to start learning. And I just kind of forced myself. And then once I started seeing a little progress, it was better. So
it feels a lot better.
Yeah, I think that's once you start playing some music and you go, damn, I got this. I could do this. Kind of gives you a little more confidence, and you want to just keep going. That's the nice thing about playing an instrument. You could just play and practice as much as you want, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And right now, you know what I want to do, Eddie? I want to learn how to play. I want to learn how to play the fucking piano. I just want to sit and play.
That's next on my bucket list. Yes.
Is it?
It's on my bucket list because my mother has. That's something that I've always wanted to do because, like a guitar. With a piano, you can do anything. You could play any song.
Yeah.
You could do anything with it. And my mother has this beautiful baby grand piano set up at the house, and it's something that I always wanted to sit down. It's something that I think I can definitely achieve. but I need to force myself to do it, just like learning the guitar.
Yeah, I know. I just always wanted to sit down and play an Elton John song. Even though I didn't sing, I just wanted Billy Joel or just somebody, because it just, when you see them play just the piano, you're going, damn, that looks so cool just to sit down and play that, you know?
They make it look they make it look so effortless.
They do. It's freaking crazy, man. It's just, but this is something I always wanted to do, but I just not. I obviously don't have a piano to do it, but I just.
You got my keyboard over there. Let's hear something.
No, I'm not playing a fucking keyboard on this thing. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't put the goddamn thing on. So, but you know what? I did tell everybody that Eddie's is going to play a couple songs. I think it's time to crank one of those songs out, Eddie. I think you should play a song for us, kind of like middle here. What are you going to play for us? What do you got?
I'm going to play one of the original songs. It's a few years old, but I definitely played it every show because I recorded it and I made a music video with it.
Okay.
It's out in California with a few buddies of mine that I wrote the song with, Jay Slevy and G.P. Clark. And yeah, we had the music video. We shot it in L.A. It was a great time. I was out there for about a week, and we hired a bunch of people to do it. It was a pretty cool production. So, yeah, the song's called Cowboy Hollywood. Let me just.
I remember this song. I remember the video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, every show. You got to bust this one out every show. Some say I'm hometown backwoods. Some call me homeboy Hollywood. Tougher than gravel, boots and a flannel. Damn, I feel good. California, are you ready or not? Hit the ground, spread the mud, better clear your spot. Tattoo, ripped jeans ain't all that I got. Cowboy Hollywood, sip jack on the rocks. Cowboy Hollywood. Lost in a city, looking for a little bit of country. Mud tires on a 405. Here's me coming in my Chevy. California, are you ready or not? I got a mean 6-string, always ready to rock. Get ready to roll, Copenhagen on the line. Cowboy Hollywood, throwing jack out the box. Cowboy Hollywood, hometown race. Cowboy Hollywood, working hard, getting paid. Cowboy Hollywood, I got a big spit cup. Cowboy Hollywood, yeah, got my own house, got my own truck, and you know what? I got a big spit cup. Pay my own bills, make my own dinner. Have you ever had a hot meal cooked by a winner? Alligator boots, that's how I do. Alligator boots, always in my boots. Everything I do, always in my boots. Cowboy Hollywood, hometown race. Cowboy Hollywood, working hard, getting paid. Cowboy Hollywood, I got a big spit cup. Cowboy Hollywood, yep, I tell you what, I got a big spit cup. Yep.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Hey, you know what? It was funny because it was we didn't write it as a serious song. We were just sitting around, you know, we were drinking and we just started messing around and it became a song and it turned into a music video and people liked it.
That's great.
Just something real simple and
yeah.
You know, I dipped at the time and I had a spit cup and I turned into that and I had some whiskey.
That's awesome. You know, that's cool. Now, tell us a little about your time. You were out in LA for a couple of years, weren't you?
No, well, back and forth for a couple of years.
Okay.
I never lived out there steady. The longest I lived out there and it was like maybe 4 months. And I stayed out there for 4 months at the longest, and I was back, and I'd go back and forth. What I do it because the singer of one of my bands that I was in a band called Man Devine, and my singer J.P. Clark was a songwriter, and he was one of the songwriters with my songs. And one day we were on the road one time, and it was a bunch of times, and I always said, JP, you know, one of these days we need to write some country music. You know, I'm a country band. I've been doing country music my whole life. I want to write some country music with you. So he's like, dude, I promise you one day we'll do it. He ended up getting a big writing contract and had to move out to LA. Started living in Beverly Hills, and I flew out there one time and just hanging out. And we started writing, and that's how the songs come out. I'd go out to LA and I'd start writing, and I'd come back to New York, maybe go back out. I helped him move a few times because he moved up into the Hollywood Hills after. And that's how it happened. I'd go fly back and forth all the time.
Yeah. How was it? There. How was it in LA? I mean, did you think that once you went out there, if you did start recording some stuff, that you would stay out there, or did you kind of plan on coming back and forth for a little while?
You know, that's a great question, because everybody always asks me that. And JP, he at the time when I was living, we moved him out from Beverly Hills. He moved up to Sherman Oaks. And he's like, Eddie, you should seriously think about moving out here. But I didn't have a reason at the time. At that time, we did so much time on the road, and I've invested so much. I had nothing at the time. And he had a writing contract, and he had a reason to be out there. If I was to live out there, I would have probably had to start doing concrete out there and all this, where when I was better off just going back writing. You know, right. I could do what I wanted to do pretty much from New York, and I just needed to come back and make sure I was making a living too.
Yeah. You had to get that paycheck still coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. That was the hardest part, because I lost a lot of time. I don't want to say lost a lot of time, but I'm behind some years at my age because the time on the road with the bands and investing what I had.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Finally starting to catch up.
Yeah, no, it does. I know, man. It does. Ryan, Grandma said hello. She says Aunt Marion and Aunt Louise Vinci were sisters. Yep, that's another connection too. Yeah, wow, that's right.
Aunt Lou.
Aunt Lou, yeah. My mom wanted you to say hi to her, Eddie. By the way, she's wow.
Yeah, I haven't seen her. I actually think the last time was the Queenos or something.
I know. And Ryan, she says,
hi there, Ann.
Birthday. There you go. You got your shout out. So, Eddie, who are some of your influential people growing up? Like some of the musicians and stuff, people you listen to that kind of get you into the type of music you sing now.
Country. It was late 80s, early 90s country musicians. Guys like George Strait, Alan Jackson, Mark Chestnut, Cliff Black. Guys like that is who I started listening to as a kid, and those are the guys I wanted to be like. But when I started to get old enough and start wanting to be in bands, it was middle school, right before high school. Nobody wanted to do country; it wasn't cool, you know. So I was I started out being in punk bands. And I love any genre of music. Being a musician, I think a lot of musicians do. They appreciate any genre. Because I find talent in any genre. But I started playing in punk bands and rock bands, and you know, I just told myself one day I'm going to do country music when I get older. So, yeah, I went through years and years of punk bands, rock bands, pop rock, and eventually settled down and got my country going about 4 years ago. Finally. That's
where you are today. I was going to ask if people in the family, like if your mom and dad listened to country in the house while you were growing up.
Absolutely. That's how it got started. My father and my mother too. They loved country music. They'd always have it playing in the house. My mother bought us my brother and I a little karaoke machine with tapes. You could sing along to country music, and they brought us to our first country show I think the first one, there was two of them. Mark Chestnut. One was '94 at the Stanley Theater in Utica, and the next show was '95 at the Capitol Theater in Rome. And it was crazy to have an artist like that.
Wow.
And I was probably only 10, 11 years old at the time, and they'd take us to shows like that, and that's when it really set in. I'm like, this is what I want to do. This,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So then you did, and you ended up doing your first Frog Fest. I mean, was that one of your biggest shows when you, starting out pretty much?
With the country, my country music, definitely by far the Frog Fest have been my biggest shows. When I had some pretty decent shows, because I spent, it was a long time on the road. I started the story could go way back. Different bands I was in touring on with my other bands on the road. And we had some pretty big shows. But Frog Fest, when I started my country music about 4 years ago, I've always wanted to do Frog Fest, and I actually I built up a following good enough, and I was able to get in, and it was awesome. I've always wanted to do Frog Fest, and I was actually...
You must have been wicked happy then when you finally got on that lineup.
You have no idea when Polly got a hold of me. She's like, we want to invite you to do Frog Fest this year. I was like, yeah, finally. And I had a great team. Every year we had a great team, a great crew, and it went great. Someday I want to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've been playing with Joey Van Drieser too.
Yeah, Joey V. He's a good dude. He's a good friend of mine. Actually, I met him. I think it was 2 years ago at Frog Fest. I met him, and I'm like, okay. I saw the potential in him. I'm like, man, this kid has the drive. He's
got a voice.
Got some talent. Yeah. So, and we've been hanging out. We became good friends, and we're working together. And we're going to start writing some songs together for his next album too.
That's awesome. I met him at a karaoke night at Celtic Harp, and I saw him go up. I'm like, wow, holy shit, this kid's got a hell of a voice. And I definitely saw some potential. I mean, he was great.
Yes, he does. He's got a great voice, got a very good tone to his voice. And he's got the drive. He really wants to do it. He has the support. He has the support with his family and his friends, which is the biggest thing. Yeah. You know, if you don't have support behind you, especially with your family, or you're not gonna. Yeah,
absolutely. Hey guys, just joining us. We're with country singer Eddie Arcuri today. See, a lot of people have been on. If you have any questions for him, send us a message on the Facebook page here. We'll read it off. We'll get it over to him. Ask him anything you want. It's been great so far. We already sang one song. We haven't played another song here in a few minutes. But you know what I want to ask you, Eddie? How old were you when you had your first gig out in a bar or anything else? How old were you?
Oh, this is a funny story. I'm glad you asked this, because I started hanging out with local musicians. My opinion, some of the best local musicians you could when I was real young, and I ride my bike, probably 12 years old, to their band practices. One band was Red Hush, the local band, Mark Devine and those guys. They would let me ride my bike over, and I'd listen and I'd just watch them. And I ended up, a few of their relatives and friends started another band called Sister Mitchell when I was still in high school. I was around 15 at the time. I think, 15. And I ended up playing rhythm guitar for this band. They were all older than me. I was 15, 16 years old in this band. They were all in their 20s and 30s. And I practiced. And I had my first show out in Oneonta. It was called Man Jam, and there was probably a couple hundred people. It was an outdoor show. Red Hush, Sister Mitchell, the band Dig, and it was like an outdoor concert, and I was so nervous. And it was my first show, and I walk in, and Mitchell, my guitar player, he's putting the strings on his guitar. I go, Mitch, I don't know what to do. I'm so nervous. He goes, Eddie. He goes, just go take a shower or something. So that's what I did. I was all ready for the show, and then I took a shower. I tried to calm my nerves a little bit, and I don't know if it worked or not. But we went on stage, and here's all these people screaming and with the lights, and I took the first song, and as soon as we started playing the first song, it was it It was like that switch went on that I always tell people that I do now. Instantly now, I could just turn it on, but I felt that. After the first song, I knew there was like that switch of 16 years old. And then I started having we started going into the bars underage and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was it. You know, that kind of brings me to the point. Before you go on stage, before you do a concert or anything, is there a song that you listen to that gets you fired up? Something that when when these athletes, they're getting ready to go out in their game, they're in their locker room, they get the headset on, they're listening to some music. Is there one song that gets you fired up or one band that gets you fired up before you go out there? Do you have any ritual before a show?
No, you know what? You know what my ritual is? And I was just telling Heather this before because I was getting ready to sign on. I'm downloading the Zoom app. And my ritual is I get quiet.
Do you?
And I start thinking. And I get real quiet and like, I don't know what, I just get this very adrenaline rush, very, very high adrenaline rush. And I could start pacing. Mm-hmm. But I'll be very quiet, and no, I don't have a ritual of a song or anything. Listening, just very quiet, very focused, and kind of chomping, waiting to get on. And as soon as the first note hits, boom, the switch is
you're good,
on, and that's it.
Yeah,
and I'm opened up and loosened right out. But it's those few minutes before a show where I'm just real quiet.
That quiet that just like right out there, the switch. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I have a song that I listen to before I come on to do the show.
Oh, boy.
I got to hear it. What is it?
I do. I got a song I was listening today while I was going shopping, and I'm like, it was just firing me up. I had it cranking. I was in the McDonald's drive-thru, and people are looking, what the hell is this guy listening to? Wild Side by Motley Crue.
Nice. Yeah.
I just get I got that turned up as high as I can go, and I'm just doing the show, but I'm not going out there playing like I used to play sports. But it just, when I need something to fire me up, I just threw on a little Motley Crue, a little Wild Side, and I'm my head's banging off the dashboard, and people are looking, what the freak is this kid doing? Is he freaking Stunat or what? I'm just getting fired up for the show.
I thought you were going to say Dancing Queen by Eva or something like that.
We like Dancing Queen by Eva, but I won't play that before I go on for a show.
No. I love hair metal, man. That's actually how I learned to play guitar, playing from bands like that. All the 80s hair riffs like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Those guitar players were the best.
They were the best. I got the Hair Nation on my Pandora. I listen to it all the time.
Yeah.
All right, you have a song to get you fired up before you come on?
Not really. I go through phases of like who my favorite bands are and stuff like that, and what kind of music fires me up. It just seems like it's a new month. It seems like there's a different band that just gets me jacked up.
Talk about Motley Crue. Remember me and you went to see them at the Turning Stone?
Mm-hmm.
We saw my good close friend Jeff Durso there. We all had bandanas on. We looked like we were back in 1982. It was hilarious. It was good stuff. So, Eddie, what I wanted to ask you now? You signed a recording contract down in Nashville.
Actually, a couple years ago, the contract I signed, it was out of Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia.
Georgia, okay. Tell us about that experience.
It was, it started off good. It was, it's something, a deal that kind of, I don't want to say went bad, but kind of fell through after a while. I went down to Georgia and I recorded a few songs, which I can't release right now. I recorded a music video, which I can't release right now. I think I have I don't know when the contract runs up, but it is this year. But there was just a few discrepancies with me and a couple people, in particular with the company. But other than that, everyone else in the label was great. I consider them great friends.
Yeah,
and the business was good. It was something that wasn't the right time, I guess, for me. It wasn't the right deal, and I'm very happy where I'm at right now. But it's something I learned a lot from it. It was kind of just something that came up that I wanted to see where it went, and that's what happened. But
where do you see yourself moving forward? Do you plan to still continue to grow and possibly tour regionally, or do you have plans to move forward with us?
There's I don't ever see an ending in sight with my music, but I wanted to take a break from a little bit after this deal happened, from I call it chasing the rainbow a little bit. I was because I've been going and going and going for years, and I wanted to actually, get back on my feet a little bit, take a break from that, and eventually, to get back with some good songwriters, and maybe go on tour. But what I'm more interested in right now is like the artist you mentioned, our friend Joey Van Drieser.
Yeah.
I'd like to write some songs help him write some songs for his new album and help him succeed. And he's a lot younger, and I see a lot more potential. So I'd like to go more that route. I'd see myself more as a songwriter, maybe a mentor a little bit to help, and to help Joey save some time. Here's what I went through. Let's save you some time a little bit. That's kind of what I'm looking at in the future for music. And then, of course, playing the weekend gigs and stuff like that.
It's always fun. It's always fun.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Of course, Jeff Durso comes on. Motley Crue rocks. Yes, they do, Jeff. We had a great time with that concert. And Heather, Jeff Durso rocks? Really, Heather? Come on.
Yes, he does.
He does rock. Jeff was a former guest on the show not too long ago. A classic, a throwback from the 80s. You know what, Eddie, I wanted to talk to you about before I have you play another song. There's a lot of kids now playing instruments and singing, and you see all these different music shows and stuff. How can you tell them for any how hard it is to get into this business and to get where a lot of people think, I'm a great singer, but there's so much talent out there. What kind of advice would you give anybody growing up and singing and playing instruments now?
You know what, Bill? I say this all the time. That's like my my go-to line. What I tell people. There's so many from going out and touring playing with different bands, seeing different bands online. I mean, there's so many great artists out there that need to be signed. They should be famous, but they don't make it there somehow because there's so many. It is the hardest industry, period, in my opinion, that I've ever had. You can be somewhere, and we did. I mean, I felt it for a little bit. I was with a great band that got a good deal one time. We were all over the world. There were songs on the radio. Next minute, you could be here, and then you're
sure.
Very, very hard.
Yeah.
What I could say is to anybody that wants to pursue it as a professional career, involve yourself with somebody, hang around and be involved with somebody that's better than you at all times. If you're a guitar player, make sure you're hanging out and you're hanging out with very good guitar players. Make sure you're hanging out with people that know what they're doing in the industry. Make sure you have family support. That is huge. If you have to have your family behind you for this. Family support. Make sure you're hanging out you're hanging out with solid, seasoned musicians, and don't stop. Don't give up. It's very, very frustrating. There's times. I mean, I used to tell my friends they were my best friends in the band, and we get in arguments and stuff. Listen, right now this is a business. At the end of the day, we're still best friends, but right now this is a business, and we have to
right.
Never mind the bullshit. And I went through several bands. People want to quit. People want to go back home. But I kept moving on. I went from Rome. One long story about this, but I went from being in Rome. Then I moved down to New Jersey. The band I was in was called Poor Felix. We lived in a big RV in our guitar player's driveway in New Jersey, but everybody in the band was from a different state. Our guitar player from New Jersey. Our drummer was from Phoenix, Arizona. Our singer bass player was from California, and I was from New York. We all met up and lived in this RV. Wow. Eventually, and there was a Japan deal. It was a great band. We went all over the place. Great songs, great musicians, but it got to be too much for everybody. What I do? Then I went up to Saratoga Springs and got involved with Man Devine. I just didn't stop. You have to keep going, and eventually,
right.
Now I have a story. I do have an album on the wall, and it's something that I'll never regret in the rest of my life. I have, if I never pushed myself like that,
right,
myself in the ass one day. I know it.
Yeah, you sit there and wonder what would happen. you know, instead of actually doing it. Those are experiences you'll never forget.
Without a doubt. And I remember the first time I was on the road, it was a small, with my reluctant hero, my band, Ricky Loretto and Danny Tyler. I'm looking up because our picture's right above me. And we went on the road and we didn't know anything. And we printed out MapQuest. We had MapQuest, and Ricky was writing in a journal. This was a long time ago. That's how it was, MapQuest and writing in a journal. We still have these memories, stories. You can never take anything back.
Yeah,
I remember MapQuest. That was sometimes very good to have, and sometimes it would just get you. It was just horrible to follow.
Yeah, you want to shred. Yeah, sometimes you're better off just shredding the paper.
Turn right where? I don't see anything. It's like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
I remember I used that once to get to Ohio for Columbus, Ohio, and that was probably one of the worst things that we've ever had to do. But I mean, we still got there. We're a couple hours late, but we got there.
You know what? Yeah, as long it happens. You get there. So, you know, you may have some bumps along the way, but as long as you get there.
The second year we had a GPS and we got there, no problem.
Yeah, technology's changed. It's so much easier now, man, to find places.
Yeah.
Well, Eddie, you know what? I think we're due for another song. I see a ton of people have been joining us all day, but I think we're ready for another song. What do you got in the mix for us?
Next song, I'm going to play another. I want to say one of my more popular originals. This is another song I wrote out in California with the same guys, JP and Jace.
Okay.
And it's another simple one. It was another song that we sat around. It was late at night, and we didn't think it was anything serious. And I was strumming along, and I'm sitting there. JP's on the couch. I'm just leaning back and drink. Full throttle, can't find an end to this battle. Maybe I'm just living big. And I said that. He goes, there you go. He goes, that's a song. We got to call it Beer Goggles. And he goes, I go, you think that's a hook? He goes, yes, Beer Goggles. So then it started. So that's a song. It's called Beer Goggles. Word to the grapevine, my buddy make the fish shine. Couple sips, I'm feeling fine. Got all the girls looking like dimes. This bar's like Nashville, Tennessee. I'm living like a king in luxury. Maybe I'm just seeing things, 'cause these girls all look like tens to me. More drink, full throttle. Can't find an end to this bottle. Top shelf, hot models. Maybe I'm just wearing beer goggles. You look good at the lotto. Maybe I'm just wearing beer goggles. Look good when I wake up tomorrow. Oh yeah, I'm beer goggles. Yeah. So come on for a little more. Feeling lucky on the dance floor. We gon' sit today, close the doors. And I know I said this before, but this bar's like Nashville, Tennessee. Living like a king in luxury. Maybe I'm just seeing things, 'cause these girls all look like tens to me. More drink, full throttle. Can't find an end to this bottle. Top shelf, hot model. Maybe I'm just wearing beer goggles. You look good at the lotto. Maybe I'm just wearing beer goggles. Look good when I wake tomorrow. Oh yeah, beer goggles. Yeah. Oh, na, 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 na. Yeah. At the bar, that is. I think that girl just blew me kiss. Everything I see, everything I like. Top notch girl, top notch prize. One drink, full throttle. Can't find an end to this bottle. On top shelf, hot models. Maybe I'm just wearing big goggles. You look good at the lotto. Maybe I'm just
Nice.
There it
man.
is.
Good stuff. Ain't that crazy how something simple, like you're sitting back on the couch and you're just playing, next thing you know, bam. It's a hit.
That's it. And that's the best part about co-writing. You can sit there and you can have a million ideas that aren't going anywhere. You can have your friend next to you and like, dude, wait a second, you should do this, boom, and then you start, there you go. You're starting to have what could be an all right, mediocre song could go and turn out to an amazing song.
Yeah.
And there's songwriters in Nashville, sometimes some of the co-writing sessions can get up to 8 to 10 people. A lot of songs, country artists, you'll see, any song really these days, if you look at it, there are a lot of artists that write their songs, but a lot of artists, there'll be 3-4 co-writers per song on the track, plus what the producers do. So a lot goes into it. Yeah, but it's awesome how you could have something so simple go to
that thing can be a hit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Jeff Durso, Beer Googles. Thanks, Eddie. Now I feel like drinking. Great song. I think you're already drinking a few Googles. Come on, Jeff. Heather, Beer Google should be a thing when I'm drunk online shopping with like Marissa Ann. Yeah, that could be a next hit, Eddie. Beer Googles. That's what you're seeing when you're looking at all this shit online and your eyes are spazzing out and Heather's hitting the buy button for everything. And hey, Heather.
Yes.
Yep, she says yep. She's probably buying stuff right now. By the way.
Yeah,
right?
She's shopping.
She's shopping. Christ. So Eddie, you know what I wanted to ask you? It's funny. We've talked to a couple other country singers, Erica Sunshine and Savannah Harmon and stuff, and we always ask this question because to me, there's so much. Even with our show that we do at the Empire Plate, and we travel all over New York. What's the craziest thing that's happened to you at one of your shows?
You know what? That is a very good question. It's something
that going to stump you?
That it may. Craziest thing that's happened to me. I don't know.
No, don't have one thing that stands out. Like Erica says, a couple guys brought a blow-up doll to her concert and wanted them to sign it.
I've never had that. I've had your normal blue autographs, but I've never had a blow-up.
Never had a blow-up doll. Somebody has it. That would be interesting. I know, that would be funny. I can't imagine somebody carrying it to the concert. I don't know. I mean,
I've seen a few go crowd surfing before.
Did he stuff it in the bag and he blew it up at the concert? I just can't imagine him walking through the gates carrying this thing. What do I know? I don't know. That just blows. That's funny.
No, that's something I'd probably have to get back to. Yeah, right. Probably when we sign off, I'll probably like, oh wait.
You'll remember. Yeah, something will pop up. Stacy Marie, beer Google equals shopping while drinking. Yeah. You might have a new song after this show, by the way. I could always see the words coming in. It's perfect. Next thing you know, he'll text me in a couple weeks. Bill, I got a new song.
Sponsored by Amazon.
This is how it all starts.
Sponsored by Amazon. Well, you know what, Eddie? We're coming to the finale here, but you've had it's been a great show so far. You kind of told us in detail growing up into the music business and how you got started, where you are today. But I do want to ask you one thing before we get into the penalty box session. Where can people find you? I know you're doing some stuff still at the house a little bit, but are you doing any virtual tip things where people can send a few bucks to kind of keep you guys going through this tough time? Do you have a certain night that you do some music? Let people know if you're doing any of that. Is there anything?
No, right now I haven't, because you know what? I'm blessed to still be working right now.
Right.
But what I have been doing, I've had a few random shows that I haven't scheduled online, but I've been going on and trying to promote my friends, my professional musician friends, that's all they do for a living. For instance, a good friend of mine, very good friend of mine, Gary Johnson.
Yep.
We played in band together since high school, and that's what he does right now. He does music like a lot of the other guys 24/7. And so I'm trying to help promote them, but I haven't put an online schedule together right now. I don't have a show scheduled together for when all this ends. I know I'm going to book a ton once everybody opens back up.
Yeah.
But I will I will let everybody know what I'm going to be doing online. It's for everybody listening. It's easier to go to my personal Facebook page. I update that a lot more than my music page. My music page gets updated for bigger events, so to speak. But my personal page, I'll always update people before I go live for a show or something.
Okay.
But no tip jar for me. I'm not. I really appreciate that, but I'm not accepting anything like that. I'd rather go towards my friends that aren't working right now.
Absolutely. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate that. So, okay, Eddie, so now we're going to be joining, you're going to be doing the Penalty Box. This is sponsored by Matt Grabsky, Out of the Way Cafe, and Joey's 307, proud sponsor of the show, No Time for Nonsense. This is where things get a little serious for you now. Enough of the bullshit and all the drinking on the boat, the fishing, the dirt bike. Now things are going to get a little tough for you. So I'm going to ask you a question and tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready. Here we go.
Favorite meal?
Turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy.
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner.
meal.
Like a Thanksgiving, good hearty Thanksgiving meal.
You have that more than just once a year, then I take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't cook a full turkey, but it could be anything like that, or a chicken with mashed potatoes, gravy, anything
just
hearty.
A nice
like
hearty
that.
meal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comfort
Favorite musical band or singer?
Van Halen. David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth, absolutely.
Van Halen with David Lee Roth. I love Sammy Hagar, even when they got Gary Cherone too. But Van Halen together is my favorite group. Or if you, it's hard because country it's George Strait too. I have.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Van Halen with David Lee Roth, absolutely. Okay, if you were to open up for one band, you got one band in particular you would like to open up for. Who would it be?
Oh, it'd obviously be someone like George Strait, but I think that's thinking a little too, too.
Any band, it'd be George Strait.
Yeah, it definitely would.
That'd be awesome.
Open up for your idol, right?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to do that?
Absolutely.
Who wouldn't want to do that?
That's cool. Okay, next question. One concert that you haven't seen yet that's on your bucket list.
George Strait.
George Strait, yeah.
It's crazy because it's who I grew up listening to. That's when he had the movie Pure Country, and listening to his songs, watching the movie. That's what I wanted to be, and he's had everybody blown out of the water with #1 singles. I think he has 62 #1 singles, and nobody's even come close to that record. And it's very hard to see him now. He's doing like his select shows. He's in Vegas doing his Vegas show, but his select tours are like a few shows in the United States, so you got to travel.
Right.
But that's my bucket list, man.
That's your bucket one, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Diffie just passed away. He was on the bucket list, but that's George Strait for sure.
All right. Well, now I got a feeling with this last question, but I could be wrong. If you could have dinner with one person, and let's say you're going to have that Thanksgiving Day, the stuffing, the gravy, the mashed potatoes, the turkey, who would you want to have dinner with and why? If they could be passed on, they could still be alive, who would that one person you'd want to sit down for that one meal with?
I'd want to have it with my grandfather Arcuri.
Okay.
He has a grandfather that I never had the chance to meet, and he passed away when my father was a teenager in high school, and but he was a World War II veteran Marine. He served in Guadalcanal, and he was an infantry Marine, and he ran the Arcuri's Market on Court Street, and I've always heard so many stories about him. He's a hero to me, and I never met him. But if I could have one dinner with somebody, I'd want it to be him.
Yeah, Grandpa Arcuri.
Tom Arcuri.
Tom Arcuri. Yeah, that'd be great just to sit down and hear the stories and everything else, and kind of see what you're doing now.
And I always think I'd like to hear, because I heard all the Arcuris are the same, but I just like to hear what he'd have to say about me and kind of break my balls a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, man. Well, Eddie, it was a pleasure talking to you, hanging out with you for an hour today, man. We got to hear a good story and find out who you are and what you're all about, and hopefully, like I said, once this thing breaks, man, you get back up on stage and just keep doing your thing. And look forward to hearing more stuff in the future from you.
Absolutely, guys. I really appreciate you having me, and I want to say I feel honored because you've been having some serious stars and celebrities on your show. And when you got a hold of me and asked me to be on the show, I felt very honored and privileged. So it was awesome, and I had a great time. And I look forward to talking and hanging out with you guys soon once this is all over.
Absolutely. We have to go out for a drink and hang out when everything clears. Also, guys, I just want to thank our sponsors once again, Out of the Way Cafe and Joey's at 307. Matt Grabsky, thank you so much. Eternal Grave Care, Mike Bottini, again, thank you. Wendy's Diner, Wendy Brown, out in Cassville, and All Things with Nikki. Thank you so much, Nikki McLean. Thank you guys for being a sponsor of today's show. We always look forward to check their Facebook page out, give them a like, contact them. So, guys, Ryan, another great show today. Had a lot of fun. I know it's a beautiful day. We had to drag everybody in for an hour. But if you haven't seen this live, it'll be up on our Facebook page. Make sure you give it a share. Spread the word on Eddie and what he's doing and his story. And do a watch party with it. Make sure you like his page, like our page. And we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys next Thursday. We got former Hell's Kitchen chef Rich Mancini. I want to hear a little bit about Gordon Ramsay, what he's really like in the show. So looking forward to Rich. He's out in Chicago, Illinois, so he'll be joining us. And so that's when we'll see you guys next. But, guys, stay safe. Go enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll see you guys on Thursday.
All right, cuz.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much.
Nice to talk to you.
Good to see you.